Dads.
I see us on Restream.
On Restream.
I see us on YouTube. So
On
Twitch
YouTube.
should be good too. I think we're good.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 259, recorded on
69.
February 20. God damn it, Jesse. You're such. Why? Come on. All right.
Bleep.
All right.
It's in the notes.
I know it's in the notes, Jesse. I know it's in the notes. I can read the notes, Jesse. I'll do it again. I'm doing it again. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode. You son of a bee. You mother.
I was only expecting the 269 to get big, not the whole damn line.
Oh.
Wow.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 269, recorded February 27th, 2020. On tonight's episode, I'm going to be honest, folks, it's been a slow news week, but we are going to talk about some Shovel Knight, maybe some Animal Crossing, and who knows, this train will most likely derail in all the positive, fun ways that you've known to love it. Anyways, Jesse, cue the music.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Marty here from Nintendo Dads, and as voted by the public over on Patreon.com, the best Nintendo Dad. We'll get into that a little bit later. That's what happens when you don't do the Patreon polls, Justin. With me tonight is a cavalcade of the very best Nintendo Dads that we've gathered from around the internet, and some who aren't. We'll let you figure out who those are. Mr. Jesse Waldack, how are you?
I'm good. It's it seems like I say this every week, but it seems to be, it's one of those weeks, but like every week is getting to be like more and more of one of those weeks. So I don't know how far down this goes, but it's a pretty deep hole.
Yeah. Wow. Way to just suck all the joy out of the front end of the show, man. Thanks a lot.
That happens with me a lot. Well,
You didn't even apologize for it. You're
No.
leaning in.
no,
Hey, okay.
I accept it. That's me, man. You know, my reaction to Yacht Club games versus what Justin's reaction might have been, I'm sure very similar. So my actions were a lot of meh.
Hey, I just gotta ask, since we're for the folks who are listening at home, this won't make a lot of sense. Is your shirt the Triforce with the Great Fox in front of it?
No, it's Link.
Okay, I see it now. Like, I just saw the upper part of his hat and shield, and it kind of looked like the silhouette of the Great Fox. And I was like, that's a great mashup.
No, it's just Link. No mashup, just Link.
Yeah, speaking of Justin Masson, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, it's good to be back. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's nice to see your. It's nice to be back. I'll just say that, shall we?
Nice to have you on your own show.
Sorry. I used to have my own show.
No, it's nice for you to be on your own show, isn't it?
Nice for me to be back on my own show. I appreciate it. Every once in a while, I got to come back on and straighten you yahoos out. But
That's how it
it's
works.
great.
Yahoo!
And then when we really get in trouble, that's when Zach comes back.
Oh yeah. He drops in and has to give us a good
Well,
punishment.
guys, as a psychologist, here's what I'm gonna say. Right? It's just like, go away. We know, Zach. We get it. All right. All right.
Did you know? Oh wow. Oh man. Speaking of Yahoos, all the way from
That's right.
Minnesota, it's Tim Off.
Yep, that's right. The guy who's in Minnesota who loves Detroit Tigers, right? Got Detroit Tigers all over me.
Wow.
And I had to wear this, by the way. Because all the times Nintendo Guru always has his New York Yankees hat on, so I'm wearing Detroit Tigers. Doggone
Just gonna be honest, totally thought that was an initial for something else.
it.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
But we're not dads after dark. So
No, we're not.
Anyway, and we could never be. They're doing a great job over there. Hey guys, we've got. Let's just be honest. It's been a slow news week for video games in general, right? I mean, unless you
for me, it's probably a good thing because I wouldn't have had time to cover
Unless
anything.
comes rolling
All kinds of
on
stuff
Monday.
going on. What are you talking about? What?
Unless you're an Xbox fan, which means like 5 or 6 of you guys that are left, you know.
Ooh.
Well, you know,
Well, I mean, they're not. Look, how do we know that even 5 or 6 of them are playing Xbox because they don't report their numbers?
true. Anyway, while we're on that topic, before we move on, there's one thing that I wanted to say. Everyone's going nuts about their announcement of, I forget what term they used, but you buy, no, but you buy a game and then you get the game, the upgraded game for free when it comes out on Series X.
Smart Drive.
Yeah, which
Smart upgrade or something like that. Yeah,
that's nothing new. Sony did that with PS3 and PS4 and Vita. It's been done. This is not revolutionary.
Yeah, but Jesse, don't you know that every other console cycle we're supposed to hate one or the other? We're supposed to hate Xbox or we're supposed to hate Sony. This time it's been Sony. It's like they were great at first, but now everybody hates them. And everybody thinks Xbox is great because they buddied up to Nintendo.
Right, so
I'm just completely indifferent to both of them.
Yeah, I've said this before. I think in the Discord, so I'll say it here. We've seen Sony on a PS2 high flop with the PS3 launch. We've seen Microsoft with the 360 high flop on the Xbox One launch. PS4 is the high. I'm waiting to see I'm waiting to see how Sony flubs this one.
Yeah.
I have popcorn in hand, waiting for something to happen.
Who knows? Who knows? But you know what? We're not Xbox dads or Sony dads. We are Nintendo dads. And so, yeah, it's been a slow Nintendo news week in some ways, but let's dive right into the news, shall we?
Let's do it.
You got something on your forehead there, Marty. There's something.
Yeah, it's called a microphone.
Oh, okay. I was trying to
figure it out. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of just, yeah.
It's just hanging there, it's dangling.
Yeah, I want to say it so bad, but I can't.
Speaking of the
news,
news,
if the people listening to the audio version want to know what we're talking about, go to the YouTube version at about the 7:35 mark, and you'll see what he's talking about.
Let's try to get this train back on track.
I
Our
told
news
you,
is brought to us.
It's 5 minutes in and we're off the track.
Yeah, our news is brought to us by the fine folks over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. That's you guys who are over there being patrons of the show. We want to thank you for your support, and we want to thank you for always hanging out in the Discord and helping us build a great community. And this week, because we forgot to mention it last week, we've got 5, count them, 5 brand new patrons.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's right. And so we want to say a huge thanks to our newest patrons.
I feel like I need a lightning bolt type of sound effect now because you're counting.
Yeah.
Add it in post.
Ha ha ha.
There we go.
Oh, this is going to be the worst show ever.
Yeah, we're all over the place. This is like the most ADD Nintendo dads ever. I know that I'm going to probably mispronounce somebody's name. I'm sorry. I'm from the South. Just call me a stupid redneck. Be done with it. All right, so here we go. Newest patrons. Andreas Dennis, Christopher Logel, Alex Koister, John Matthews, and Fantastic Foxman. Thank you so much for jumping on that's Patreon train. And as it stands right now at recording, we are now at 105 active patrons over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. You can go and join into that as well for $1 a month or higher if you'd like to. Get you to some access to some sweet perks, as well as the $30 Patreon producer level gets you access to actually being on the show. And with that being said, I want to address something. Our good friend, Patreon producer Chris Mears, who has never been on the show, was about to guest for the first time this evening. He was going to be on this very show. And he had work come up, as it happens, right, Justin?
It happens.
Work comes up.
A
sometimes.
guy who doesn't show up often because of work. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear your pain, Chris.
So there you go. So Chris is going to be rescheduled. Now next week on the show, Justin, we have who?
We have Donnie from Nintendo Shack. Nintendo Shack. There it is. I was like, did they do a blend or yeah? Nintendo Shack.
I think all
Donnie's
you're supposed
joining
to
us.
do when you talk about that is just say Shaq. Just
Shaq!
scream it real loud because
Right.
that's how they always post about it. All right?
Yeah, I have to send him a friendly reminder because we talked about it about a month ago. But he's supposed to be on. We're excited for that stuff.
Yes.
So,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, he's coming on. Lots of guests coming up, and as you know, we're kind of in the downhill coast now, I guess, with PAX being over and GDC possibly being canceled. That E3 is next, and so you know what that means. We'll have guests on, and that means Roger's going to come on, and it's going to be another 2.5-hour show where he and I freak out about possible Smash characters and all kinds of things like that, that totally don't come true.
But
we love having Roger.
We're going to have to meet up for chicken and waffles again, like we did 9 years ago.
wait a second, Jesse.
Hold on. That's a big announcement, right?
That's a huge announcement.
So why don't we just go ahead and drop the bomb and let everybody know what's going on here? What are you referring to, Waldak?
Eric.
No, well, I still haven't been officially accepted. I've had my submission in, but we're waiting to hear back to see if I can get our pass for E3. In the previous years, we've kind of gotten backdoored in through Nintendo, so we got in on Nintendo's behalf. Not us, but we were able to designate people. That's how Adam and John had gotten in, and I think it was Sean. And others last year. So I probably could have just followed that wave this year, but no, I want to see if we can get on our own merits. So we're still waiting to hear back. Adam is wanting to meet up for artisanal sandwiches at some point.
Okay, let's take a quick pause here. Oh my God, let's just stop right here because you are sucking the hype out of this right now because this is a bigger announcement than what you're giving it right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Jesse Waldak will indeed be at E3 2020 representing Nintendo Dads. And why? Because the amazing support of all of our people who support us on Patreon, on Twitch, who subscribe to us, on YouTube, are helping to bring Eric, a.k.a. Jesse, a.k.a. the artisanal sandwich artist, to E3, ladies and gentlemen. Regardless of whether he gets a media pass or not, Jesse Waldak will be at E3 2020. If he doesn't get a pass, he's going to stand outside and protest. He'll do headshots. He'll sign autographs. He'll do whatever he wants because, God damn it, Jesse Waldak's going to E3 2020.
Yeah, did you mark that time right there?
Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys.
He just got really excited.
Reminder,
guys, it's kind of like when you have a new puppy and you walk in and they get really excited about you being home and they pee in the floor. That's what just happened.
See, I didn't even notice he said something. So
as a reminder, you can send your emails to nintendodads@gmail.com and tell me how you don't like it when I sometimes curse. If you want, you can just reuse the email you probably sent 6 months ago. I appreciate that also.
Oh my gosh! Let's move on before we dig in an even bigger hole.
Hold on a second. Hold on. It's been a while. I got to stretch my legs here. All right. In all honesty, thank you very much because it is truly with the support of Patreon that we are able to do that amazing event like send Jesse to there. We are excited. I will say that Jesse was not the only one that was going to potentially be going. There are some conflicts with our other hosts in regards to time and regards to work that don't allow us to. But there are other events in 2020 and 2021 that are big, that is being supported by Patreon and that Nintendo Dads are going to be participating in because of it. So thank you guys very much. It cannot be remiss how important that is. And I apologize that I said a bad word for people in cars driving. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. We forgive you because that's what we do.
I appreciate that.
We forgive you. We're a forgiving group of dads.
Sometimes, as parents, you get excited. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yes. I have a new soundbite that Marty asked for. When I go back and post and edit it, I can probably put this in place.
Yeah, let's do that. There you go.
Sweet.
All right. Well, folks, that's the end of the show. Thanks for tuning.
Good night.
Good night. All right.
What?
Where do we go from here? So obviously, guys, it's been a slow news week.
Yeah. So why don't we talk about the things that actually did make a few ripples this
Sure.
week? So last week, if you listened to the show, you know that things got pretty heated as we talked about the Animal Crossing Direct that Nintendo had dropped last Thursday. Probably because out of the folks who were most heated about it or were talking about it the most, we're really just passionate about Animal Crossing. We like the series. We are excited about this new entry that's coming out. And they, particularly where the most heat or the most excitement was around the area of save data and cloud saves and whether or not those will be in the game. And, you know, if wherever you fall on the issue with that, I think that one of the things that's come to the forefront in the whole discussion, and I'm not just talking about on our podcast, but just all around the internet in general, is that people are, since we live in a digital age, which a lot of gaming is now done on the go, or we have the cloud and we have all these advanced capabilities because of the internet and all kinds of user interfaces have been built, people get pretty protective and passionate about their save data. Am I off base in saying that?
Sounds fair.
Sounds about right, yeah.
And so, especially, you know, when we go back and we look at the beginning of the life cycle of the Switch, people were really, really protective of that Breath of the Wild save data that they had spent some people hundreds of hours on, right? Jesse has even been affected by it with having to send in his Switch for repair and having his Pokemon Let's Go data wiped out that he had to go back and do fix the game again, right? So for us to sit here and kind of just like brush it under the rug and say, oh, well, we'll love it anyway. It's Animal Crossing. It's Nintendo. Let's give them a pass. I didn't feel good about that. And so as the week went on and more people talked about it, Nintendo made a quiet little change to their YouTube channel. Real sneaky. Didn't really announce it, which kind of tells me some things. But this past week, in the last 7 days, Nintendo re-uploaded the Animal Crossing Direct to make a change at the moment that they were talking about save data. Now, at the time that they did this, they had almost, I want to say in the ballpark of 1.7 to 1.9 million views on the original Direct, which is not chump change at all when it comes to YouTube videos. And so for them to kind of redirect the stream in the middle, I wanted to throw this to Justin because Justin didn't get to be on the show last week. What do you think is going on here? Like, are we damage control mode? Are we, okay, that didn't come out like we wanted it to? Or is it something else at all? Because let me tell you what was changed.
Yeah.
There was a note at the bottom of the change, or the screen that says, Nintendo Switch Online members can only have save data recovered one time due to loss or damage of system. Then it was re-uploaded to say this: more details on save data recovery functionality will be shared at a future date. Bingo. Sure. Bottom line. So Justin, take it away. What's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is interesting, right? And I think that if there was a flaw, right, if there was a spot that I think Nintendo stumbled in relation to Animal Crossing, it is definitely the save data component here. And I think that they have Nintendo, I think, has been over the last several years a lot more responsive to feedback and more proactive in wanting to make changes and do what's kind of right for fans. Now, maybe not in the way that we want them to, but in a way that they feel safe by. I think they probably got some heat for it. I don't think they're overly concerned that it's going to impact Animal Crossing sales or do damage control, but I think it's a little bit of maybe the wording, the messaging we wanted wasn't quite that same way. and we want to do some adjustments. I did hear on some other shows earlier this week as well, statements along the lines that Nintendo had said we're going to look to have it resolved or have a solution later in the year. Or a better solution later in the year. So that makes me think that they definitely know it's an issue and they need to find some way to resolve it. I do think that this is the biggest flaw for Animal Crossing, and I do think that it's a dangerous point. As I think as someone who myself may be buying a new console, a new Nintendo Switch in the coming year, right? A Switch Lite. I love the idea of being able to easily transfer games, right?
Yeah.
From my OG over to my handheld and be on the go. And Animal Crossing has always been such a game that is on the go accessible, right? And it feels like, yes, I mean, you can always take your Switch with you anywhere you go, on the go, whatever it is. It feels like they're cutting themselves at the knees on this one. And I don't maybe understand fully the reasoning behind it. Maybe I understand the reason. And again, I'm not an Animal Crossing diehard, right? Like everyone knows I ain't never played other than Happy Home Design. And I have pre-installed it. I've got it ready. I've got it. I used my voucher. I'm excited because I think my kids are excited for it, and there's a lot of energy about it, and I know our community is, so I'm like, I'm all in. But it feels like a game that you want to take with you and be more accessible. And I think the other part of it that I think I'm really concerned about is, so this is my observation of Animal Crossing, all right? And maybe you guys can attest this. This seems like a game that a New Leaf, that people are playing not for like 6 months, but like for years. Yeah. Like there is it is like a generational game, right? A game cycle generation. In that, yeah, sure, you'll play it for years and years and years and sink in hours because you're just sinking in 45 minutes, an hour here and there, doing these little tasks, right? It's these, if we go back to someone like Zach, he used to talk about how he would just play Animal Crossing before he went to bed, and that was his thing. He had so many hours. But like when you think of playing on the 3DS, you could transfer those files from one 3DS to another 3DS, right? That was part of that methodology. And Nintendo continues to introduce new consoles and iterations on the consoles, right? So we think, great example, we've got a new colored Switch Lite coming out, the Coral one, right? Let's scroll this clock forward in a year. Are we going to see a Switch Pro? Do we see another Switch iteration? Like, how many more Switches could there be that, in theory, you may want to move these files from? Because we know that people will go buy the newest one. They'll and then they'll move their game files. And then Nintendo has enabled us to do that on so many other games. This feels like such a flaw. And again, as a system that is generational and doesn't have like this kind of defined linear story. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, I can go back into Breath of the Wild and put in like 200 hours, but I've done the story. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've completed those beats. The rest of it's probably just a little bit of side questing, a little bit of fun. But Animal Crossing, there isn't that. And again, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. There really isn't that. There's the story beats, but it's about going in and checking it on. It's going on paying your debt to Tom Nook. It's going and getting bells. It's trading with someone else. That's the essence of the game.
Mini events, but there's no long-term goal.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I think probably for me, as someone who's going to Animal Crossing the first time, that for me will actually probably be a really hard thing to get my brain around. It'll be like, so where's my next checkpoint? Who do I kill with this axe?
Yeah, right? let me interject here, Justin, because I think this will help you make some sense of this. Is that, like, let me give you an example. I have not touched Animal Crossing New Leaf on my 3DS since the Switch came out. Okay. And before then, I was semi-regularly checking in on my town, right? And so here's the thing. Put yourself in that position. If I went back to my town today, there would be some weeding that needed to be done. There would be some catching up with animals. I would need to find them and talk to them a couple of times. I would need to run the cockroaches out of my house and mash them. And that's about it. And from there, I could resume my 30 to 45 minutes a day of scavenging and playing and being in my town, right? Mm-hmm. So to your point, it's one of those things that, like you say, there's not story beats and there's just tasks and things. This is a game for a lot of people that even if they've been away from it for a while, they can come back to it. And it just becomes that, like, I can play it for 30 or 45 minutes and then I put it down and I'm done with it for that day, right? Yeah. I mean, some people get really serious about it. And I can see how this one's going to get, like, even more so because of all the crafting and, being able to modify different things and put patterns on stuff and do all kinds of crazy stuff like that. even terraform your island. That's gonna mean people are now putting hours a day into this game, where before it was like maybe an hour, right? So I guess that's why the point of it for me was like, and for you, what you specifically said as someone who's thinking about getting a Switch Lite or a second Switch for your house. You and I travel a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You and I are on the go a lot. And so it makes a lot of sense to be able to swap those two things back and forth like I've been doing for every other game, which was the point that I was making last week. Maybe a little too heatedly, maybe not, because I was upset about it. And I still am to a degree, but I've kind of consoled myself with the fact that eventually there is going to be a way to do this. Apparently, it's just not going to be immediately. I really wanted it to be at launch. Like this is a game that for Nintendo, like we're not in a position anymore. Let's be honest. We're not in a position anymore where we're like sitting here wringing our hands desperately saying, oh gosh, Nintendo Switch has got to have this game so it can succeed, so it can sell. No, it's a proven seller, right? It's going gangbusters. Yeah. And it still is. So it's not that like Nintendo needs Animal Crossing to keep the ship afloat.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they really, really, really needed to knock it out of the park on every aspect of this game, seeing as how people have been waiting for an HD console Animal Crossing for how long?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like they skipped over the Switch, they skipped over the Wii U. They had the little Plaza thing that was just junk.
Yeah.
And there was always that idea that maybe something was going to come of it, and it never did. Now we're here on the Switch. We're 3 years in. I really wish that like it was 100% done, like day one.
Yeah.
But
and I want to put some context maybe about a little bit of the commentary I heard. Dan Koopman is in our chat. Thanks, Dan, for jumping in. He's in our YouTube chat right now. He says, Nintendo of Europe announced the following, but no timing, which is annoying. This game does not currently support the ability to transfer your save data from one Nintendo Switch to another. However, a function specific to Animal Crossing New Horizons to move users and save data to another console is planned for later this year. So again, there is something in the works. What that is going to be interesting.
This is where I'm coming from when Marty, you said something about the fact that you were uncomfortable how we left it last week, right? So maybe some of us left it to where, Nintendo will do something about it and leave it alone, I guess. So from my perspective, it's not necessarily just dropping the ball.
I see what you're looking at there, Justin.
Essen is apparently being visited by a presence. Lights are flickering. If you go dark and we come back and you're not there, sorry, bud.
I have smart lights in my house, in this room specifically, and I feel like my room is actually trying to kill me. I'm not going to lie to you. But go ahead.
Do you see any cold air in front of you? Are you breathing any cold? No, what I was going to say was in my gut, I feel maybe I'm just wanting this to be this way or something like that. Maybe giving Nintendo the benefit of the doubt. But this is a big game, like you said, Marty. And to me, I think there is something more that Nintendo can't tell us right now by obviously stating something's coming. And I think it's bigger than we think it is. I think it has something more to do with the cloud than what Nintendo has, potentially. I have no idea what it could be. I'm speculating that I think that yes, Nintendo is smart enough, and they've done it plenty of times. They know how this is working to give us saves on this type of stuff. And yeah, maybe it has something to do with how to save that, like Jesse had brought up last week, how the instances have to be saved and carried over from one Switch to another, or what, the details, where us as gamers don't care about those type of details. We just want to be able to move our game from one system to another like you guys do. But to me, in my gut, I feel like there's something more that we're probably going to hear, say, at E3, that Nintendo is, and I'm just going to throw this out there, I don't have an uncle at Nintendo, and you know my track record for
This week.
predictions. It sucks. But potentially there's something like a relationship with Microsoft, and how Sony has a relationship with Microsoft and Azure or whatever it's called, to doing better with the cloud stuff. That potentially maybe Nintendo's working with a company like Microsoft to better handle their games in the cloud. Or maybe it's NVIDIA. Maybe they're working with NVIDIA because they have a strong relationship already with NVIDIA. I mentioned this in the Discord too, I think, to a few people, but I think there's something potentially there that it's much bigger than we are aware of, that leads back to what Doug Bowser said last year about saves being different than what they were already doing at that time that we never saw. I don't think we did. And then coming up to this issue where they delayed the game. Why did they delay the game? Maybe it was just polish, but maybe it was something else. I think there's something more there. And like I said, maybe it's just something because I want to give them the benefit of the
working
doubt.
out the networking involved is probably a good reason for the delay. One thing we heard a number of people say last week in response to last week's show is, the problems we're talking about, it's only going to affect like 1% of the people. It's not going to affect most. We shouldn't worry about it. But while you're not wrong, the problem is the 1% that it does affect are the people like us that don't play games like everyone else. The influencers, the media, and the people with the voices that everyone else listens to. So it's still kind of important.
Yeah, like very real story. Like I have my OG Switch, right? The one that I bought, at launch day. And it was funny. I handed it over to my wife today, and she's playing with Stardew Valley as she's preparing for Animal Crossing. Which, by the way, she says she doesn't want to play Animal Crossing because she's like, I don't want to get addicted to another one of these games because she sunk so much time into Stardew Valley.
Same with my wife.
Yeah, but like, I've got it in her hand, and she's playing, and she's like, this fan is super loud. Like in the Switch, like the actual air fan, right? And I was like, yeah, and it's been getting louder. So I'm concerned that this thing is going to just going to crap out, right? It's just going to go. And I'm like, is it going to go in May? Do you know what I mean? Like, am I going to have a couple hours of Animal Crossing, and all of a sudden now it's gone, it's done? And I know it says we can recover it, but like, I don't know. The cloud thing I feel a little bit sketchy about sometimes.
And I agree with you guys, especially because of our experience with Breath of the Wild, right? We were all on edge after getting up there in hours on that game. Like, oh man, I don't want to start this game over if I lose my save. So yes, they should have had something day one. And I agree with you guys. But that's why I think there's got to be something bigger that we're just not thinking of there, that we're waiting for.
Here's the deal, Tim. If it ties into a UI overhaul or whatever you're thinking, or a different way of the UI working, I'm all for it. All right. But when using that language like Dan talked about, it sounds to me like it's another I'm just going to throw this out here. It sounds to me like Pokemon Bank. It sounds to me like an add-on. It sounds to me like something, honestly, you're going to have to pay for. And I don't like that. I don't like the and again, Jesse, you brought this up last week, and I thought it was probably one of the wisest things that I've heard said about it the whole time. And it stopped me when you said it. I didn't really catch it, like why it stopped me till later. But you said something as I was kind of going on and on about it. You said the other companies don't have a game like Animal Crossing. And you're right about that. They don't have a game that's time sensitive, that has different events going on at different times each day, different collectibles that are available at different times each day, and they don't have to deal with that issue.
I was referring more specifically to multiple profiles accessing the same save file, as opposed to each profile having their own save file.
That's true.
That's all true too.
And the other thing too is, I just thought, like after last week, that the easiest way to handle this is just for Nintendo to just say, you know what, every profile has its own island. Boom, you're done. Just that's an easy fix, because here's the thing: when I hear that thing that Dan was talking about the solution to, the solution to it being a way to move islands and users from different consoles to another, I don't want to move my whole user over, because to me that sounds like you're moving an entire profile, and that the island is locked to that profile, and you're going to have to move the whole thing from Switch to Switch. At least that's how it sounds to me.
Yeah. Well, it's not locked to the profile; it's locked to the hardware, which is even more restrictive.
Right. And so, I think the frustration for me that where it comes at is that, like, if I want to, the way that I want to play this is I want to play it with my kids. I want to play it with my wife. I want them to be able to come and us all play together. And the frustration for that is not that it gets locked to a console, which is frustrating in some ways. But I thought of this week too, that means that there's only going to be certain times that we experience the island. It's always going to be afternoon or night. It's never going to be in the mornings, except on the weekends and the occasional scattered day that we have at home together. And so that doesn't really get me fired up, if that's the term I want to use for it. I just think that it's going to be really interesting to see, now that we're less than a month away, how much of the game they have left to reveal and when this update's going to come. Is it going to be like, help me out here, Mario Maker 2 launched in June last year. When did the update come that let you play with friends? That big fix, that big fiasco came. When did that happen?
September, October?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was a while, right? And here's the problem with it, is that by that time, Super Mario Maker 2 had cooled off. And that's what I'm afraid is going to happen with this. I don't think that it's going to cool off as quick, but who's going to buy this without knowing these limitations and is going to bump up against these walls and go, you know what, it's not worth it. I'm done. And I don't know. I'd love to hear what people think on Twitter, or what people think in the chat, or send us an email and let us know. Is this a big inconvenience to you? Is this a big deal? Is it, are we making too big a deal of it? I don't know. This has been to me, this is the first really huge misstep that Nintendo has made since they released the Switch.
Yeah. Dan says the Mario Maker 2 update was October 2, so I was right there.
Okay. So let's see, it's about 4 months behind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it will be interesting to see, and again, guys, as more information ends up coming out, we will let you know.
And also, similar to Mario Maker, we knew of the issue before launch because of the E3 demo, and something I think was Nintendo World Apart was when they originally leaked it, because they noticed something weird in the menu. So they knew about it, but of course they didn't plan for it, and it takes a while. This is going to be the same thing here. They knew about it before launch, but it's not going to be able to plan for it. And, they have to design and code a fix. It'll probably take 3 or 4 months at the minimum. Yes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Of course, as before we segue off of our Animal Crossing Direct information, if you are at PAX East this week, you guys have an opportunity to play Animal Crossing. This is first hands-on. So there are some impression videos coming out from our good friends. Obviously, I know Game Explain's got one coming up soon as well. Hands-on with them. So guys, make sure you check out that. Obviously, if you want to find out more about Animal Crossing, Nintendo did an amazing setup. They got some Animal Crossing PAX East swag there. If you're a Nintendo Dads fan at PAX East right now, hit us up. We'll be happy to send you some money to pick us up some
yes.
Animal Crossing swag. Seriously,
I'm
DM
pointing
us.
at myself
DM us. We'll let this happen if you can hear our voices.
I think there's 2 or 3 people from our Discord that are there on their
Well,
own,
so
sending us
if you could go
pictures.
tomorrow, if you could go tomorrow and get the Tom Nook person to hold a sign that says Nintendo Dads is my favorite podcast.
Oh my gosh! What happened to something?
Come on.
Let's
Be the
go,
new
son.
graphic for the show. Hey,
Yeah, that's
speaking of
our new Facebook banner if that happens.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of graphics, and some other announcements and things. That was a terrible segue, but we're going to run with it now.
Yep.
Go with it.
Justin, this
Yeah.
week you had an opportunity to hang out and watch the Yacht Club Games presentation.
I did,
Actually,
yeah.
yesterday, as we record this, we're Thursday. So it was yesterday on Wednesday. It was kind of a Yacht Club Direct, if you want to call it that. And so why don't you share a few highlights with us about what Yacht Club has up its sleeve and coming in the future?
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that. Yacht Club did their own version of a Nintendo Direct. Of course, you can watch my reactions live over on our YouTube channel. It was a relatively short presentation or direct, just under 15 minutes, actually.
I thought it was like 20 or 25.
No, it sure wasn't. Sure wasn't. It kicked off. The thing actually started at 10 o'clock local time, but it did finish at like 10, 12 or something, so it wasn't long. A couple pieces of information they did that we knew that was on the pipeline that we want to highlight. First and foremost, Cyber Shadow. Now, this is kind of this Ninja Gaiden, a little bit of Axiom Verge art style. Just looks fantastic. That they are the publisher on. They're not the actual developer on, as I recall. They have got a release date for this for fall of 2020. Probably a little bit later than most of us did want. However, some piece of information that was confirmed is that it does have amiibo support, and it supports the Shovel Knight series of amiibo, and it summons this kind of fairy that follows along and assists the player in different ways as well. The other component of it that they did is kind of nice little history of Shovel Knight. And how it kind of came to fruition, the universe, the world that they built. Of course, talking about the original Kickstarter and then moving over to the updates, including Plague of Shadows, Spectre of Torment, and of course, King of Cards and Showdown. Now, what they did mention here, a couple of things to make you aware of. As an out now, if you're interested, they did release their own Shovel Knight stickers. So Shovel Knight stickers available on iOS Messenger and Line. Those are available in your app stores now. They are not free. They do cost about $1.25. So that's available if you're a Shovel Knight fan as well. They did mention also that the Treasure Trove will be receiving an update at 4.1 patch. It's coming very soon. There's a bunch of information there.
And they jokingly said there are no new campaigns.
Yes, there's no new campaigns. They've built enough. Stop asking them, right? Some characters will have their hover time reduced, updates to characters destroy dirt blocks who couldn't before. There's a gauntlet mode. So there's a lot on there as well.
Pixel perfect mode, which is...
a pixel perfect.
Yeah.
And then updates to King of Cards Joustus can be played against other players, which is a great update as well. A couple of things that they talked about that I'll throw your attention to is the game Shovel Knight Dig. Now, Shovel Knight Dig is, from my understanding, being designed by the group or being developed by the group called Nitron. They're the ones that did Bomb Chicken last year, which is a really great game. Love the art style. That was expected to be released now in 2021. So a little bit of a delay on two of those games. I think we were expecting Shovel Knight Dig to be earlier. To be honest, going into the Direct, I was anticipating or hoping that it'd be like an out this week or out this month. So that's unfortunate. They also have two more games in development, which will be announced much later. One of them, though, they did reveal to be a Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, which is a roguelike single-player puzzle game. Contains a campaign and multiplayer. There are new characters, including Puzzle Knight. There's no specific release information on the game as of yet, but it is playable at PAX East, which I thought was interesting. It looked decent enough. Overall, I would say that the presentation, they definitely leaned heavy into the Nintendo Direct-esque. There was a lot of nods of information of what do you think of that? Talking to the camera that way and asking the audience who never responds. And they even had, I think, Wii lobby music going on. It was very Nintendo Direct in every way. Overall, my thoughts were this, and this sounds bad. I don't know if this was necessary in any way.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you gave us an update, but I think what Nintendo and Nintendo Directs or Indie Directs have done so well is they'll do a out today, and they'll do a big drop, or there'll be this hype moment. There's good updates and there's a hype moment. Unfortunately, iOS stickers is not a hype moment for me.
No.
So I don't know if this was necessary. I'm excited for all the games they have coming out. I love all of it. I'm excited that they're expanding the world. They've got new projects. It's not Shovel Knight. They're doing some updates to Shovel Knight. Again, that's not a shock. Yacht Club has been known to care and listen to their community, so this 4.1 patch is not a shock. But I would have loved, I'll be honest with you, when they were doing when they were showing off Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon at the very end, I was like, okay, this is the out now. This is the out today or out this week, right? This is that moment, and it never came to fruition. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I was, again, excited for Yacht Club. Good for them. But, again, I don't know if this was needed. But I appreciate the energy they did.
I think that as Justin, I'm going to kind of take a page from your playbook here, or what you were saying. I did not get to watch this at the time that it was shown. And so I thought, I'll go on Twitter and catch up with what they said. And I was expecting, I don't say I wasn't expecting anything bombastic, but I just remember scrolling through their timeline, and there's like literally maybe 4 tweets about that sum up the whole thing. And I was like, that's it?
Yeah.
Like, oh, so it's a Shovel Knight mobile game, no new game releases, and Cyber Shadow now has a vague release date?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it.
Yeah.
But you get.
I gotta say,
But you can have iOS stickers right now.
Yeah, you just sent me one.
I know.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, it's underwhelming. As our most iOS.
I paid $1.25 for that. You back off now.
Well, okay. I'm sorry. We just need to reimburse you.
Sure.
Here's the thing. Out of all of that, and I'm a huge fan of Shovel Knight. Like, I love the character, love the games. And I'm not going to be like those people who are like, oh, I'm kind of Shovel Knighted out. Like, I'm glad that there's more games coming with Shovel Knight. But right now, my focus is Cyber Shadow looks amazing. And I cannot wait to play that game. And that's where my focus is on Yacht Club right now. I want to see them be kind of like Devolver. Let's elevate some of those games that maybe wouldn't get made otherwise, right? That's what Devolver's doing. That's what Yacht Club is now in the ability to do. They have the ability to do that. So let's make that happen. And I'm just hoping that Cyber Shadow sells well. And people don't just look at it and go, oh, it's just Ninja Gaiden, right?
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is, like, it's been a long time since it's been released or announced. I just hope it's not like too little too late. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely one of those games that's on my radar. I think we all have those ones that are kind of like, hey, that looked really cool, and you'll kind of flag it. And that was definitely one of them. Same with Dig. I think I thought Dig was much further along when we had seen the kind of some of the initial gameplay footage of it. So I was a little bit shocked for 2021. But sure, look, it is what it is, right?
Well, Lord knows that we are not unfamiliar with long waits for Shovel Knight games.
Yes. Yep. That's fair.
Fair. But also, here's the thing: fair play. When they finally get here, they're really good quality.
They are, and that is something that it is. We all kind of whine and moan about Yacht Club at times, but when it shows up well.
Yeah, and I'm thankful for that. Like, especially when we kind of live in a world where sometimes it's just, I guess, halfway done would be a word for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Are you a day one on Cyber Shadow? Are you day one? Because I am.
I would be, right. Like, just that art style. It's a 2D platformer, kind of circa 8-bit old Nintendo. Yeah, I'm in.
So. Yeah. What about the rest of you guys?
There wasn't anything here that interested me. It's 100% pass.
I like the Puzzler. I like the looks of that one, even though I'm not really a roguelite fan or roguelite fan, whatever you want to call it. The Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon. I like that one.
Yeah, that looks good too.
I'm not as excited about that one as I am about Dig, but I'll give it a try. Depends on how much it is.
Sure. I like it.
So let's talk about a couple other little quick news items. You guys know that the Wonderful 101 remaster has been on Kickstarter and was very, very close to $2 million raised earlier this week. As of showtime tonight, it has now reached 197 million yen, which it translates over to about $1.8 million. This is of a goal for the game, which was $49,791. So it's definitely funded. There's 7 days to go, so it'll definitely make that final push into 2000, and that will unlock the final stretch goal. But this week, it was also announced that the release date for the game in North America is going to be May 19th, 2020. I believe it follows very quickly in the European region as well. I actually don't have that date.
Oh, he froze.
He
Hello?
did freeze. Oh, no, he's back.
No, I was saying, do you have that from you? Okay, Europe is getting it on May 22nd, and Japan will have to wait until June 11th. So, again, that is 19th of May for US, 22nd of May for Europe, and June 11th for Japan. Are any of you guys getting Wonderful 101? Have you kickstarted it, or are you just going to wait?
I have no interest in it at all.
I'm interested, but I'm trying to stay away from backing games on Kickstarter. Even though this one's coming out
Yeah.
right away, I'm trying to stay away from backing games on Kickstarter now.
Yeah, this was a weird one where it was effectively just done before the Kickstarter campaign.
Oh,
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't have interest in this on the Wii U, and I have a history with Platinum games that I haven't enjoyed. So this one still,
Right.
again, not to sound like a broken record, but it's a pass for me as well.
This is going to sound really bad, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like, I'm going to wait till this is in the bargain bin. Because and here's why. I bought the game originally on Wii U. So I have the Wii U copy. And I liked it enough to play it about halfway. And so I love the game. I want to see what they've done with it, especially with the 2D levels being added. I think that's going to be really neat, and the new soundtrack. And I want to support Platinum because I think that, they do make good games. So I'll buy it when it's, half off or whatever. That sounds terrible.
That's
but
okay. John
I'll buy it.
Blanco in our YouTube chat says, always bet on Platinum, day one. So John appears to be all in. John, did you actually support the Kickstarter? Let me know in the chat.
Yeah, we want to know. I'm betting he did. Are we going to do over-under on this?
I think he probably did. I don't know.
Tim, you think he did?
Yeah,
No.
he says, yep.
Oh,
Yep.
darn it.
There you go. There you go. Of course he did, in hopes that there would probably be an included Bayonetta side mission or character.
Right.
Or that you could just use all of the 101 to form like her leg or something.
Platinum did a fantastic job on Astral Chain,
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yes.
right? Like,
My
so
favorite new Nintendo IP of the past 5 to
Yeah.
6 years.
so here's the thing is I'm a little bit like you in that I have supported a lot of Kickstarter games. I've got about 4 games on Kickstarter right now that I'm still waiting to come to fruition. They're all like indie devs and stuff like that. So that's
Chicken
fine.
Wiggle.
Yeah, well, that's one of them, right?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, and so I'm just kind of tuckered out of that. And then this one just didn't. I don't know. This one didn't really super interest me. I don't know.
The experience that I've had with video games on Kickstarter, I think I've mentioned this before, that the experience I've had with video games on Kickstarter and the experience I've had with board games is an entirely different experience. I've backed dozens of board games on Kickstarter and have gotten, at this point, there's only one that I've not gotten two that I've backed, but those have been games that I backed this year. And so, it's like for me, I feel like video games on crowdfunding is way more of a dice roll than board games.
Yeah.
Just in my experience with Chicken Wiggle and Mighty Number 9. So, and we won't go into the dumpster fire.
Well,
there.
also those for me, not only that, but it's the length of time it takes is kind of killer, as opposed to like you, it's kind of fun the first couple times, and then it's just like for me, Knights and Bikes. I backed that one, and that one turned out to be a really good game to back. But man, it was tough to sit back and have to wait and wait. You know, as opposed to say just reading it in a magazine or an article about how the game's doing on its way. It's a little bit different, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at my Kickstarter campaigns right now. For video games, I backed Bloodstained, I backed Xenocrisis, Chicken Wiggle, Steamboat Billy, Hamsterdam, Bushido, Hazelnut Batista, and Tunchi. And of all of those, Bloodstained and Xenocrisis are the only ones I have actually got yet. Now, they've all funded. Steamboat Billy is apparently being shown off at PAX East right now. Sorry, I apologize. And I did get Hamsterdam. That was a really funny one because we had gone to EGX and I met with the developer, played the game, and they were like, yeah, we're on Kickstarter or whatever it was. And their game was like $10 on Kickstarter. I was like, sure, look it. That's a pretty, you know, that's a bit of fun, right? So, and theirs was quick delivered. So I don't know. That's, yeah. And there you go. Yeah. And look at you, Mr. Timothy. He's showing off his Bloodstained Collector's Edition.
Nice.
Full package hardware. That's actually quite nice. They did quite nice job in that set, didn't they?
This is the last one I backed that big for. It was like I just go in all out, go in, you know, like crazy.
I mean, if you just want to like throw your money anywhere, head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads because we're happy to take that.
or Redbubble.
Or Redbubble, where you can actually purchase Dad's Crossing swag.
That's
including coffee mugs, books, stickers, T-shirts, pillows. Yeah, you can do that. Anywho, guys, like we said, it's been a really, really slow news week.
Yeah. One last little item that I think we want to mention here is today's Pokemon Day.
Pika.
As we're recording this, it's Pokemon Day. And so a couple of fun announcements. Mewtwo is now available in Max Raid battles for Sword and Shield, so you can go out and continue to catch them all and get Mewtwo there. I believe that there's a Mewtwo that will Dynamax, but will not Gigantamax. I don't think he has a Gigantamax form. Somebody will probably correct me if I'm wrong. Also announced today a brand new mythical Pokemon named Zarude, who is a dark grass-type monkey that you can find somewhere in the Galar region. I believe it's in the forest, although no one really knows how to catch it. Most of the articles I've read have said you can't catch him in a regular way. You can't catch him by fighting regular battles. So more details are coming. I don't know what's going on there, but
when I first saw the picture of that, he didn't really look like a monkey. He looked more like a lichen. Or like a wolf type of thing, and my first reaction, it reminded me of Gremlins, you know, movie from the mid '80s. So I said someone fed Eevee after midnight.
Yeah. So when they showed off the shadow of like the silhouettes of the Pokemon, I straight up thought it was just Gigantamax Alakazam.
Yeah, I thought it was some sort of new evolution of Alakazam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
me too. I didn't think that at all, actually.
No, you didn't. You don't even know who Alakazam is. And speaking of Justin not knowing anything about Pokemon, dropping this weekend on Sunday.
Yes. Yep.
Justin is going to. We're going to play Justin Names Pokemon.
Darn right you are.
So what's going to happen is on video, Justin is going to be shown a series of pictures of Pokemon, and he is going to attempt to correctly name 15 Pokemon that were sent in by listeners of the show. I am here for this. Like I can't wait.
So there may be some I know, and I'm probably also going to mispronounce it. This is going to be at least 5 minutes of entertainment, folks. At least. And will be a year of bad sound bites for sure. And if this goes really well, I'm welcome to the idea of Justin knows nothing about Animal Crossing and Justin knows nothing about Fire Emblem. So I'll be happy to name weird characters that I have no idea about. But I do know, speaking of Pokemon, I do know that if you are a Netflix subscriber,
I was just going to
Pokemon
talk about
Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution hit the streaming platform today. It looks pretty. Jesse, I don't know much about the Pokemons. Can you tell me what's going on with this thing?
Okay, I haven't seen this yet, but this is basically a recreation of the original Mewtwo Strikes Back movie from '99 in 3D CGI. And my understanding is it's really a shot-for-shot recreation. And I've seen mixed reviews. They're like, if you want to watch this, watch the original. But I still plan on watching this just to see for myself.
Yeah, I have retweeted, or it's been retweeted from our Twitter account of Rotten Tomatoes. They have kind of a shot-for-shot look of it. It looks kind of good. I think I'll probably watch this one on the weekend and just live the dream. You know what I'm saying? Live the Pokemon dream.
All right, so here's a question. Here's a random question to y'all. Why is today Pokemon Day? Do you know?
I have no clue.
What's the date today?
February 27th.
February 27th.
Okay.
It is when Pokemon Day. It is when the game was released in Japan back in the 90s.
That is correct.
What? I only guessed.
1996 was
Nice.
when Red
you
and
did
Green.
not guess that. You know, you Googled it. You listen.
How did I
you
have
wouldn't
time
know
to
that.
Google that?
You wouldn't know that if you didn't have that card.
Yeah, it was originally released in Japan on the Game Boy, was Red and Green, and then Blue was released as a bug fixed version, of which we then got Red and Blue, which contained the bug fixed version, and then Yellow came after that.
Well, I think we need to ask this question then, right? Just in honor of Pokemon Day, who is your favorite Pokemon? Round the horn, really quickly.
Well, I can tell you, I'm going to throw this in here too, because I know somebody will probably say that we mentioned or missed it. Google just recently held a contest to name the top 10 Pokemon of 2020. Guess who the top Pokemon of 2020 is?
Mewtwo.
No. It was Greninja. Greninja. By the way, none of the Pokemon that were in the new game became the top in anywhere near the top 10 of best Pokemon in 2020.
Really?
They don't say when the poll was done. So I don't know.
I thought it was done since the release of Sword and Shield. I remember reading about that.
Okay, that could be.
So
Yeah.
I kind of get it, but like, you know who wasn't on the list at all? Top 10? Pikachu.
But Mimikyu was.
Mimikyu was number
Third?
3. Yeah.
All right.
And
So
2 random EV evolutions, which is weird. Okay, favorite Pokemon. I'm going to start with Jesse because I got to know. He knows them all anyway.
I don't know them all.
Come on, favorite Pokemon.
No, I do. I do like Glaceon, which I think is one of the EV evolutions, which was
That's
I
a
think
cool looking one.
Was new with Gen 4, I think.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tim.
I would have to say going probably old school, and it would be make sure if I get the name right too, Charizard.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. Hey, and you know what's fun is we all know who Justin's favorite Pokemon is, don't we, Jesse?
Jesse, it's a soundboard.
Wobble Buffet?
There
it
you
is.
go. Attaboy.
There it
Perfect.
is.
Perfect.
No, seriously.
I
do
don't
you
know
a
what animal
Pokemon
this
that
is
you
or what
have a-
Pokemon this is.
Yeah. To be honest, I do. I think it's Charmander, the fire dragon, fire dinosaur.
The little one?
The
The
starter.
little one, yeah, before he's evolved at all. He's just
Yeah,
like a
that's
little guy.
Charmander.
Yeah, I like him.
I like Piplup. He's a
Okay.
penguin. I like
Oh.
penguins. My son
Yeah.
loves penguins, so I just kind of sentimental toward Piplup.
That one does have a cool final evolution, and Polygon, so like an Emperor Penguin.
Yeah, but see, I don't like his final evolution. Is just he's mean looking. But I want the penguin. I want the little one.
And
Want the
pretty
little
close second for me is Mimikyu too. So I
Bigger ones are supposed to look mean.
like Mimikyu and its story.
Hmm.
It's very interesting character to me.
I have to do some research now.
Dan says the voting was between February 5th and 14th this year.
Perfect. He also mentioned that it's not a shot-for-shot remake. The Viking scene from the original is gone. So I don't know what that means, but thank you, Dan, for keeping us honest.
There's a Minnesota joke in there. Watch
really?
the original and find out.
Okay.
All right.
No one knows what
yeah.
I'm talking about, but I bet Dan does.
So, guys, that's Pokemon Day. It's today. By the time you hear this, will be over with. If you didn't celebrate, sorry.
John Blanco, by the way, says Kyogre. Kyogre. This is going to be a heck of a game, folks. Watch for Sunday. It's going to be amazing. And we're recording it the night after the show. It's going to be great.
We don't need the game where he looks at a picture and guesses a Pokemon. We just need the game where he looks at the word and has to pronounce it.
Tries to say it. I mean, he can't even say game names right most of the time. Speaking of game names, let's talk about what we've been playing.
Wait.
What?
Wait. I know it's not in the notes. I'm sorry, but we have to say what. We've got 3 people who went to PAX East and have been sending us pictures. We got to say thanks to them for at least checking out the stuff that's been at PAX East.
Honestly, I tried to get one of them on the show tonight. And he could not because he was putting kids to bed, which is a dad thing to do, right?
Yes, it is.
I would imagine they'd be pretty exhausted.
Who's at PAX East right now?
Well, if I got the names right, if I missed anybody, I apologize. But I saw 3 people who are there. I saw Dre, Scott, and Ty, or otherwise known as Crazy Greek Dre, Scott the Geek, and True.
Yeah. All those guys have been. Yeah, they've been sending us in. They've been sending photos, right? Or they've been sending us photos.
Yeah, it's all in the Discord.
It's all in Discord. And Tim, have those been going on our Twitter feed, right?
There are now.
I sent one out of mine, but
okay.
Let's do this. If Scott and Dre and True call in and leave a voicemail, and let's talk about. We'll play them on next week's show. What was your favorite part of being at PAX?
Also, seriously, DM us, and we'll send you some money for T-shirts.
Yeah, let's do it.
And swag. Legit.
That's right.
Want some swag.
But yeah, no, seriously though, and here's the other thing: do check out the Dad's Crossing podcast, which released recently the first episode. That went really well. But we are doing
2 episodes out now.
They've got 2 episodes out now, do they? Sure, look at.
Yeah.
I don't think the beta. I don't think the beta version was out on the feed. That was patron only. But episode 1 is on our feed.
Yeah. But we will continue to post the photos from the guys over at PAX East. And man, that's awesome that we get an opportunity to have some of our members of our community there sharing their experience with us. We absolutely love that. We can't be everywhere. We can't do everything, but I love that our community is able to help us on that and share that. And man, the fact that they're able to meet up, man, that's what this is about, right? This is why Nintendo Dads exists. It's a community coming together. That is hype. That is excitement. I love that. I'd love a photo of all 3 of them together, right? Hanging out with Tom Nook. I'd love a photo of them beating up Tom Nook and maybe like foot stomping him, right? Right, and then Isabel's in the background with like the flying elbow. Get
a final smash.
Yeah,
that's right.
Right? No, okay. No,
well, one of the pictures that I got excited about that Scott sent was, and everybody kind of looked it over, but me, I love racing games, so I noticed it. But the guys who did, or a lot of the people who worked on Burnout series, who worked on what is it called, Dangerous Driving series. They're bringing it out to the Switch, and they made these little like hand-drawn posters all through their little area. It said, and this is what I posted on. I circled all the different things, but it was a world premiere announcement that Dangerous Driving 2 is coming to Nintendo Switch holiday 2020, and I was like, that is freaking awesome.
That is awesome. I saw that you were excited for that. That's awesome. Yes. The great thing about these events, like PAX or any of these events, you'll get all of a sudden release dates. Another great example, After Party has now is now got a Switch date. It actually just got released now on the EU, eShop just came
Nice.
live with it. It looks like it's March 5th, I believe. So
That's
it's
awesome.
or like
That's
or
quick.
March, yeah, I think it's March 5th. I saw it a moment ago.
Yeah,
But
I saw them have post something saying it was what they say, we're gonna switch things up.
Yeah.
Or
Here we go.
something like that.
After party of the game. Someone tweeted it a moment ago, and then I
don't
think I
I've
just
heard of
lost
that
it.
one.
It's the one where they two young guy, or not young guys. It's I think a guy and a girl. They die, go to hell, and they go to all these parties, after parties, and they have to drink their way out of hell. If I
Yeah.
understand that correctly.
Correct. You are correct on that. And I am only getting right now as if I was trying to go to an after party. That's not what I'm looking for.
I think the Mega Dads played it, possibly, and the Trophy Room played it on
Yeah.
the other consoles. So
Yeah,
Sean might have even played it too, I think. But I heard a lot of people playing it.
I
and had
think
a
right
lot
now,
of
if you check the
feedback.
EU shop, it is live right now on the EU shop, Nintendo EU shop, where you can actually also pre-order it as well. So
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Can we talk about what we've been playing now?
let's
No,
do it.
wait.
Oh, okay, yeah. Tim, what's up?
I love you guys.
We love you too, Tim.
If you love me, you'd put it in the notes.
I did.
You didn't.
I did put it in
I
the
didn't
notes.
say where.
Tim is so upset he left.
Oh no! Oh no! I feel bad. I feel like I've made him leave. It was probably just his internet. Though, let's be honest. Justin, let's start with you while we're waiting for Tim to reconnect here, because you've got a game that you've been playing that I am super stoked about, and I know you were too. Blood Roots.
Blood Roots.
So I want to hear all about this game. So give us the rundown.
Man, I love a kind of a crazy, phonetic, just nonsensical smash up sometimes, and that's exactly what Blood Roots is in every positive way. That is awesome. It is super stylized. Reminds me a little bit of Ape Out. Someone was saying it's like Hotline Miami meets The Reverend, or Hotline Miami meets Northern Canada. But you are a trapper who basically is betrayed. And then you decide to kind of track your revenge, and it is kind of an isometric top view, right? And you pick up weapons, and weapons have kind of the amount of times that you can use them. So, for example, you pick up a sword, but you can only use that sword 3 times. And then after that, you have to pick up another weapon or another item. And there's everything from like, oh, sure, here's an axe, here's a sword, which makes sense. But then it's like, oh, and here's a table, here's a pot, here is a trolley, here is a fish, here is a turkey, here is a carrot, here is cabbage, here is half a person, right? Like all this kind of just nuts, crazy, and it's one hit, right? So you're kind of doing these like quick run through levels. And you hit them once, they die, that's it. But if you get hit, you're dead and you have to restart over. Now the levels are kind of divided into like small little like quadrants essentially. So it's like clear this area. So despite maybe dying a couple times in there, it doesn't feel arduous, doesn't feel difficult. And it's got that also like that one more round quick hook. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, you played like Super Meat Boy and you're like, okay, I learned something and then I've got to go back in and do it again. And I'm using
250 doppelgangers later.
Yeah, I'm using that in the example of like, it's like, okay, I learned what I need to do there. I need to be a little bit better. And that's the same idea. Okay, I learned that I need to use the axe instead, or I know a different approach to it. And not that there's only one way to solve every kind of variant of killing everyone in this area, but you kind of learn what works, what doesn't work. It is a absolute ton of fun. It is done by Paper Cult Games. And we got early access to it thanks to Papa Agenda PR firm. And it's a ton of fun. They've also got world leaderboards. They have got friends leaderboards. You get a grade at the end of each level. It's also one of those great things of like, you can go back in. This is an example of an awesome like leaderboard and competition game, but also pass the controller, right? So, hey, I have finished it. Here's my score. I can write it down. But by the way, now, Marty, you give it a shot. Let's see what your score is. it is absolutely. I've had so much fun with it. It is. It's been on my docket since I saw, or on my radar for almost 9 months when I initially saw it. But I am so pumped for it.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How, let's just talk a little bit about, because I think this will come into a play with a lot of people that listen to our show and might potentially want this game. How non-family friendly is this game?
Not family friendly at all.
Okay.
I will be very clear on that. I will be
The fact that
incredibly
you use
clear.
part of a person as a weapon, kind of.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we've already covered that, but I mean, like, there's blood and gore, obviously, probably.
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? So when you're actually in the game in the isometric kind of view, like you run through someone with a sword and they splat, and it's like a blood trail, right? And then you can literally pick up the guy's like bottom torso and beat someone with it. Again, it's very cartoony, kind of very stylized, so it doesn't look too bad. There are these cutscenes where you can also see these kind of like, now they've got a cutscenes, but like the cutscenes very rarely have blood in it, minus like the first actually opening cutscene. And I've posted some pictures on our Twitter page where it's like your man is shot and there's like blood all over the snow, and it's very, very like this, or it's very like, okay, definitely this. And then there is actual curse words in it, in the actual dialoguing, because I was playing along and I was reading, I was like, oh, that's a F word, right? So definitely not kid friendly, unfortunately enough. And there doesn't appear to be a family friendly toggle mode or anything like this. This is sure, look at the kids have gone to bed and you want to have a bit of fun. Maybe check your Switch parental settings. Make sure that the kids can't get into the M-rated games, because I believe this is M-rated. I believe it's a lot of fun. You'll get a lot of good time out of it.
It's kind of like Doom, Mortal Kombat, things like that. This one's for the dads.
It is actually rated T.
Is it rated T? Okay, all right, T. There it is then. But I've enjoyed every moment of it. And again, it's got that one more hook, right? I think if you're somebody who likes like stuff like Enter the Gungeon, the kind of like one more try, I'll give it a shot. It has those hooks in you. Again, the art style is so. I described it as kind of like
another one of those games.
I described it as like a Quentin Tarantino Kill Bill meets The Revenant meets Northern Quebec, right? And Canada, and like so. The writing is sharp. The characters are fun. Like, it's just a lot of.
When you're saying The Revenant, do you mean The Revenant?
Yep, that's exactly what I mean. Yep.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure. So what else you been playing?
I've been playing a little bit of Battle Briefs, and this is a little bit more in the kid-friendly zone, ladies and gentlemen.
As opposed to Boxers?
Right. If you enjoyed Towerfall. Yes, Towerfall, there it is. With kind of like local, fun, quick little matches. This is the same idea, but instead of like special weapons, your special weapons are underwear that you wear that gives you special abilities. It's super kid-friendly and fun. It's a little bit of potty humor, of course, because it's underwear. But again, it's simple idea of it's 4-player local. So it's kind of that party mode. You jump on and attack people, and it's first to like 5 points or however long. It's a lot of fun. Battle Briefs. It's out now. Check it out if you're looking for, again, another really good local kind of family fun party game. It's a really good one to check out.
Awesome. Tim, now that you're back with us, I thought that you dropped out and like I had insulted you so badly, saying you need to put it in the notes. You were like, yeah, forget it. I'm gone.
I'm out.
I'm done. But no, I want to know what you've been playing.
It's nothing different. I posted on Twitter, what I've been playing, trying to, get through each level of the last few levels of Luigi's Mansion still trying to plug away at that whenever I can. Life's been busy, so just trying to get that in. And then, of course, my go-to quick jump in and get some daily tasks done are my Asphalt 9 game. So still playing those like crazy. So
you're really loving that one, hey?
Oh yeah, like I said, I love race car games, and I was really looking for a good one on the Switch. I got some great recommendations from our community. Just so happened that Asphalt came along, and it's free to play to start. Free to start, if you will, and you can also buy bundles to start too. So bundle packs like $20 to get like so many coins and tokens and blueprints for cars that you can unlock right away. And since I was loving the free game at the beginning, I just bought one of those bundles right off the bat. So
Sure.
and I've been having a blast. There's still so much content in that game that I can unlock that I haven't bought anything since. So it's been
That's awesome.
it's been great. So
That's great. Yeah, I know that every once in a while I'll get online. I see people are online. I check in to who's online, where they playing, and the amount of times I go up there and someone's playing Asphalt 9, I'm like, and it's not just you. I'm like, all right, people are definitely finding this. So it's
Yes.
I know that you've been singing the high praises of it on the mountaintop for a while, but it's good that other people are also recognizing it. So that's great.
Yeah. Jesse, what about you? What you been playing?
Okay, so I've been continuing my playthrough of Dragon Quest V: Hand of the Heavenly Bride on my DS Lite. I got to the point where I was able to choose which bride I want. In the DS version, it has a third option. So at that point, I saved the game 3 times and chose each of them once and saved them. So like if I ever choose to go back, I can pick another one and just continue from that point instead of having to start all over again. And so I'm.
So Jesse has 3 wives. Okay.
Only one at a time, though.
Right. Yeah.
Because you can do that with save states.
Yes.
So
That's a whole other conversation in itself.
right.
That's an After Dark show. I think that's what that is.
And that was released a few days ago is a mobile game called Dragon Quest of the Stars. That I did I did a live stream of that. Played about an hour and a half.
Got to watch the whole download of that.
Yeah, of which it was like the first half hour of just me downloading it. So I'm like, this is exciting to watch. But the chat was fun, and people were talking with me, so it wasn't like it was sitting there in silence. But the game is actually pretty decent. It's a good representation of what a free to play Dragon Quest game would be. I think I'm like 5 hours in now. I got to Altered Abbey and was able to change my vocation, and then each of them are level 19 or 20. It does kind of get repetitive. The gameplay loop, in this main story is, go to this location, which requires you to go through 1 to 4 battles of waves of monsters. Once you get there, talk to someone, they'll direct you to a cave. So travel to that, do more fights on the way, go in the cave. There's multiple levels. Each level is 3 to 4 waves of monsters. And then each of these, like early on, it costs like 1 stamina to play. And if you don't speed up the game, that 1 stamina has refreshed every 3 minutes. So you like never run out, but once you learn, I can speed up the gameplay, then later on it starts costing 2 or 3 stamina to go into the dungeon. Then you'll start hitting up against the stamina maximum, where you'll just have to stop playing or pay to get more stamina back. So it's starting to already feel a little repetitive. Then there is I so far have not put any money down on it. And it's given me a bunch of gold, given me a bunch of gems. I've got like 6,000 of the premium currency that I haven't even used yet. And when you first sign up during like I don't know when this deal ends, but there's like 2 sets of chests you can open, which can normally cost gems to open. But one set you can open a 10-pack for free, and of that I got, I think, mostly 4-star gear and 3 pieces of 5-star gear, and then another set of chests, and you can open 1 free per day. And the first time I opened it, I also got a 5-star. So my characters were pretty decently geared from the get-go, so I haven't had any real difficulty yet.
That's cool.
Then once I unlock the ability to use keys, they have this island of you use a key to access the dungeon, and one of them is a dungeon of metal slimes. So that's where you get your early level grinding done. And
So does that? Sorry to go back to the stamina. I would have a clarification question. Is the stamina for your whole group that allows you to go into or allow you to keep playing those things again? Or
yeah, if you're out of stamina, you can't go into a dungeon.
and that counts for your whole group, right? There's not stamina counts for each person individually.
Right, it's your party.
Okay, for the party.
So,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And then they do have a subscription plan that's $9 a month that you do get the first month for free. So I signed up for it. I'll probably cancel before the month is up because I don't think I'll see myself playing this for a month. But with it, you do get an additional chest per day to open, additional rewards, and the ability to refill your stamina once per day for free. So, if you're someone who's banging in the hours on this thing, it's definitely worth it. And I just haven't had a chance to get, I've only had like 20 or 30 minutes from here and there, so I've never run out of stamina yet. I ran out once, but at that point I had to stop playing anyway, just naturally. So that's not like I stopped playing because I ran out of stamina. It was just a coincidence. And then by the time I was able to play again, I had 20 out of 25. So I was able to play it more. But so you're able to get a good way in for free if you are curious. It's no reason to not download it and try it. It's on iOS and Android.
Awesome.
Yeah, the Asphalt game that I play has kind of a similar mechanic but it uses similar mechanic with. It's not called stamina; it's gas cans. So
Same
if I
thing.
have, except I have it per vehicle, so I can take a vehicle, use up its gas during certain races, and then I could just go to a different course and use a different car and race that one. So, but I could see that, where if you wanted to keep racing, you could end up spending some money to get more gas or get more stamina if you wanted to play more of the Dragon game. So.
Yeah. As for me, I have just been playing a lot of Fortnite.
How do you
That's cool.
How do you like it?
Dude, I am totally in on this season. Like
I know, it's great, isn't it?
I don't know why. But I'm like totally in, and I'm level 17 now
Nice.
already. And so,
24.
well, you work from home.
Oh,
And
you're also
He
not wrong.
works from home.
yeah, and so I know that while he's
So do I.
look, we
Yes,
don't want to do anything that
works
gets
from
Justin
home.
in trouble. But anyway, totally in on this season. And honestly, Justin, part of the reason I'm only that far is because, like, the very first day I made it to level 10, and that was without the XP supercharger. That thing has only shown up once for me
I haven't
since
got that yet.
it's on random days for random times for random people. So it showed up the other day for me, and I went from 11 to 17 in one day. But like I don't know, like I'm just loving it. I'm loving doing all the challenges. Like I'm totally in on the challenges this time, where before I would just drop in and play for a little bit. I do want that Deadpool skin, and I definitely want the Meowscles skin as well, because I thought that's a pretty awesome character. But just a lot of Fortnite. But I've also been playing, and by playing I mean like an hour and a half, and that's about it. I picked up yesterday 2 Point Hospital, which is a brand new hospital sim game for Switch. It's also out on other consoles, but you should play it on Switch because, but it's made by 2 Point. In it, you are the director of a hospital, and you are tasked with building rooms, hiring doctors, nurses, janitors, keeping guests entertained and well, and finding cures to diseases like lightheadedness, which means people come in with a light bulb for a head, and you find a way to make their head not a light bulb and a regular head instead. And you have to manage all of that, and have break rooms for your doctors and build bathrooms and stuff. Sounds like something that would be right up Jesse's alley, actually. But I was super intrigued by this game when I first saw it. I think it was partially because of like the whole art aesthetic looks like Wallace and Gromit. Like the humans from Wallace and Gromit and the humorous diseases and stuff. I don't know that I actually understand it all the way, but I'm going to keep digging into it.
Yeah.
And like the hospital I'm in right now is just like they drop you in one that's already built. And it's a kind of a tutorial to the whole game. Like you have to do so many things before you can move on. It's like on a little island off to the side of the mainland. It's on the map.
It kind of reminds me of Prison Architect, and I played that. I think it was maybe 2018 when it did. I played it on the PC, and I really got into that and played the hell out of it for a few weeks. So this sounds like something. If it's along those same lines, then I probably would like. And as we talked about it before the show, you brought up the price. It is $39.99, so it's a little steep. I think it might have better been at like a $29.99 price point. Maybe you want to wait till it goes on sale. And just in case anyone is out there wondering, yes, the Mega Man ZX and Zero collection. Download it tonight right before the podcast. Hopefully it's as good as people keep telling me it is. I didn't appreciate those games first time around, mainly because of their difficulty. I wasn't super into gaming at that time in my life. It was like around the end of college. So I guess what lured me back in was there's a casual mode now. And I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. So, I will. I wonder if it's
dive
similar
in
to
and
like
think.
what Mega Man 10 did, and just like if it's like a floor with spikes, it just doesn't have spikes, and you can walk on it or something like that.
I don't know. I have to see. I'll let you guys know what my impressions are on next week's show. And I'll also want to mention this too. I'm playing a game right now for the show that we'll have a video up for in the next week. It's called Ibn Ob. It's a 2-player cooperative action puzzle game. If you like snipper clips, then I think you need to keep your eye on this one. It's like there's a lot of snipper clips-esque things, but without the cutting. The main, mechanic of the game is that you control these two characters, and all they can do is jump. They can't attack. They can't do anything else. They just jump. And there are these little, white, flashy looking gates that you go through, and when you do that it inverts. So like if you're on the floor, if you go through the white gate, you're on the ceiling. And there's even some that come up later that are colored specific to your character, and you have to find a way to get through those and use those. And basically it's get through the level, and you can kill enemies, which you on the flip side of the enemy is like a weak point, and you step on it and they explode and diamonds come out. And then if you collect all those and you want to try to get all of them before the end of the level.
I'm looking at a screenshot and I see like a black enemy on the top of it and then a white dot on the bottom. Is that what you're talking about? Hit the white the white spot?
Yeah, like you hit the white spot. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
This is a game that you cannot play by yourself. You must play it with somebody. And I want to say that it has online multiplayer as well. I'm not entirely sure. Oh yeah, you can play online. So even if you don't have someone to play with, hopefully you'll be able to match up with somebody online. And this comes out March 5th for Nintendo Switch. And I think it's one you ought to keep your eye on. So that's what we've been playing. Let's go over to the community spotlight. So on the community spotlight this week, we've got a couple of things we're going to email. But before we get to that, I want to get to a question that was asked last week on Discord that we missed on last week's show, and we got reminded about for this week's show. It's from Dan Caparello, or Cat Janitor, as you know him. He's also one of the hosts of Dad Crossing now. Don't be sure to go over and check out that show. Here's what he says. Dads, love you guys. Love the podcast. Remember the last Nindy Direct when Super Mash was announced? The indie game that lets you mash up two game genres? I almost forgot to. but it got me thinking, what genre mashup would you love to see attempted by Nintendo? I'd be super into a Pokemon RPG where you could also build a house, a town, and a farm, Animal Crossing style. Then my Pokemon get to live there instead of existing in perpetual stasis hell in some computer program. So let's throw it around the horn here. What is your Nintendo mashup?
I got one. I'll go.
Okay.
Since it looks like you guys are thinking. You know me, I'm a Metroid fan. So I think it would be cool if somehow Mario got stuck in a Metroid planet and found Samus's weapons and tried to use those to get out of the planet.
Okay.
I think that would be interesting.
I'm going to build off of that. I would like to see Donkey Kong in the Metroid world as like almost like Winston from Overwatch, but like so replace Samus with Donkey Kong in a Metroid suit,
Okay.
and it's just
Gotcha.
and it's just overpowered, over the top, just almost
Right.
like kaiju kind of like wicked big smashy smash. All the-
Instead of rolling up into a ball, just smash through that wall.
yeah, right, just goes. Right, I like that.
Okay. Jesse, what about you?
Kind of around the vein of like Persona and Tokyo Mirage Sessions, but have like some sort of RPG. But when instead of summoning demons, you summon like a character from Smash.
Okay.
So you can
So-
summon your Donkey Kong, and someone else can summon their Link, and they can do battle.
I like it. I want what I've always wanted Amiibo to be, and that is I want the Nintendo IP RPG or dungeon crawler game that I always thought Amiibo might turn into, like Skylanders, except it's
Mhm.
Nintendo IP. And you're on this mission to defeat some evil that's taken over the worlds and merge them together. And you've got, like you can go as Link. And then once you take Link off, he can turn into Mario, and use firepower. Or you can take, this is a place where we need bombs. And so let's put the Samus amiibo on there and you can use bombs. Or we've got to swing from these vines. So call in Donkey Kong. And it's all working together to fight. It's basically Subspace Emissary from Smash Brothers Brawl, except as a Skylanders style game.
I like it.
That's
Cool.
what I want. I always thought that was a huge miss with Amiibo. Like you can only use the characters that you have. What would make me pursue buying all those characters? A game that used those characters, but you had to have the toy.
Yes. I love
So there
it.
you go. There you go, Dan. That's ours. I would love to hear. Well, I mean, he said Pokemon RPG. Pokemon is an RPG, but basically he's saying he wants Pokemon Happy Home Designer,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So, Justin, are you in the doc?
I am in the dock. Yep.
Why don't you read this next email for us?
Perfect. Do you want me to read that one or the one that we did get from Blurpy? Because he was in the chat.
Hey, do both of them.
Okay, perfect. I'll start out with Blurpy. Blurpy says, so I set up a UK Nintendo account and I went to buy an eShop code from cdkeys.com, but it was for the EU and not the UK. I was trying to get the Fire Emblem sale, so I have an EU code and I can't use it. I figure I could donate to you guys if you're interested. Thanks to the great show. We will look to maybe hit you up there, Blurpy, and try and get that sorted.
I did the exact same thing when I bought the brain training game. So I
Mhm.
still have an EU code sitting around too. That
Maybe, I'll say this. Maybe if any of our fans over in the EU, and we know that we have some of our folks, our listeners over there, hit us up and we can connect you with Blurpy so that he can actually get that code moved and get some more pocket money in his pocket. This next email comes from Eston, who says, hopefully you are all doing well and find life right now to be on the No Stress Express. Wanted to say to Marty that last week with EA and this week with Animal Crossing, decisions made without focus group. Love it when you hold that arm up at the 9th count and start getting hulked up, baby. LOL, because 99.9% of the time, Spock would be impressed with your logic as to why you are fired up.
Woo! Weston, let me tell you something, brother. The folks at Nintendo over there, they're not saying their prayers and eating their vitamins. They're not praying along with the Hulkster. They're not making sure that all the Animal Crossing maniacs have what they want when it comes to the new Animal Crossing New Horizons game. And to them over there, I want to say, what you gonna do, brother, when the Animal Crossing maniacs run wild on you?
Do you have these things like in the back of your? Do you practice this in the background and on your weekends? Because these just all seem like they come natural.
Do you want me to be honest?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
That was just off the top of the dome right there.
Sure.
Like, it's a very weird place here in my
Sure,
head.
I imagine. Blurpy just responded, I didn't want you to read that online. I'm sorry, Blurpy. I probably should have read the email before I started reading it.
Hey,
And it
Jesse,
was like a cold
can
read.
we,
I was like, here we
can-
go. Oops.
can we edit that part out of the actual audio recording?
I'll see what I can do.
I got it. It's cool, Justin. So sorry about that. I really should have read that before I read that.
Yeah,
That's what happens when I haven't on the show
My
for
bad. I
like
just
3
threw you right
weeks.
in there. I just threw you right in there, and I'm sorry. Hey guys, as we wrap up Community Spotlight, I wanted to highlight something here that we just want to pay some respects here. This week we were, I guess, led in on the fact or made aware of the fact that the creator of the Konami code, up, down, left, right, BA, start,